It's Friday, May 1st. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. The grandmother of Lilly and Jack Sullivan speaks out 1 year after their disappearance. A pub got a patio permit they were ready to build, then crews tore up the street.
A one-day break as fair weather is expected Saturday, then rainy conditions return Sunday.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. On the eve of the anniversary of their disappearance, the grandmother of Lilly and Jack Sullivan says she continues to hold on to hope, even as a lack of information weighs heavily on the family. CTV's Hafsa Arif reports.
Photos of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, faces the community hasn't forgotten. For their grandmother, it's their laughter and personality she misses most.
There was never a moment that she wasn't smiling all the time. And Jack reminded me of my son. Jack was more serious.
So much remains uncertain since 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan went missing. That has made the last year even more difficult for Belinda Gray.
Disbelief that 2 children living on a property with 3 adults and nobody knows what happened to them.
RCMP say the work has been relentless and investigators are making significant progress, even in recent months. But as time stretches on without answers, speculation continues to intensify.
Even if it's not the family that you're searching for, search for the child. We owe that to children. Safety and coming together to protect them and never, ever giving up on them.
Experts say public engagement is a powerful tool in missing children's cases, but only when it's grounded by verified information.
That same interest and energy, if applied together just in the search, continued search, I think that's the most effective place.
For Lilly and Jack's grandmother, much of the uncertainty is compounded by frustration as police share what little information they can.
We could at least rule some things out, because the speculation in the public it's constant. And it would be nice if they could be more clear on what they feel didn't happen.
For now, Gray still looks to a future where she sees her grandchildren again. But until then, hope and heartbreak exist side by side. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
The RCMP in Nova Scotia says it has seized firearms, illegal cannabis, and contraband tobacco after several searches in the Annapolis Valley. This is the show and tell display the Mounties laid out after 6 search warrants at 3 locations in Nova Scotia's Kings County. They went into a cannabis shop, storage location, and a distribution site they allege are tied to organized crime groups. The street value of all of this is estimated at $600,000. The investigation is ongoing. Police anticipate arrests and charges. Online, a Dartmouth man is facing sexual assault and human trafficking charges. We have that report now at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. A double whammy for Nova Scotians today. Gas jumped by 7.5 cents a litre. On the same day, the price of electricity went up by more than 3%. As CTV's Jonathan McGuinness reports, pump prices could reach record levels.
Even through the fog, the shocking gas prices are visible.
We have a major shortage. Inventories are low.
That has pushed prices to $1.91.7 in the Halifax area, an increase of 7.4 cents overnight. Petroleum analyst Dan McTagg says $2 a litre is almost a guarantee.
It just might not happen in the next few days, but more than likely by the end of next week, I would expect that prices are going to have to reflect the reality of a severe oil shortage globally.
1 year ago, regular self-serve gas was selling for $1.39.4, almost 52.5 cents less than today.
It's really unfortunate. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I go to school 15 minutes away. I can walk, and work's pretty close by, but honestly, yeah, driving is now the last resort for me.
Gas isn't the only new increase Nova Scotians have to budget for. Nova Scotia Power's rate hike for domestic service jumped by 3.1%. Another increase of 3.9% will happen on January 1st, 2027. Too much, according to Premier Tim Houston. A statement to CTV reads in part, "I don't agree with the increase. I fought against the increase. I showed the board why the increase is not acceptable."
There's a lot of expenses already, and it's a little bit unfortunate that another one like this has to be going up.
As for gas prices, Dan McTagg anticipates we will pass the all-time high in Nova Scotia of $2.08 a litre by the May 24th weekend. Dan McTagg says even if the Strait of Hormuz were to open tomorrow, it would still be months before we see any type of relief at the gas pumps. McTagg says it looks like 2026 is going to be an expensive one for motorists.
Yeah, it is already, John. Thank you for that at the gas station this evening. Well, they knew it was coming. It doesn't make it any easier. This morning was the last at one of Fredericton's homeless shelters after a temporary approval was not extended. CTV's Nick Moore is in the capital with details. Hi there, Nick.
Well, good evening, Todd. The overnight shelter at the Winners Lounge building on the New Brunswick exhibition grounds was given temporary approval from Fredericton City Hall in late 2024. At 33 beds, it has often been at capacity. Today, it is shut down.
So yeah, today is it. We've run out to the end of our zoning exemptions.
Warren Maddox is the executive director of Fredericton Homeless Shelters, Inc. The shelter at the exhibition grounds had a low barrier aspect, which made it a different model than some of the other temporary shelters in Fredericton. Most other shelters require a level of sobriety, but this shelter was equipped to welcome individuals with active addictions with 24-hour security on site and trained staff. Maddox says that is one real disappointment with the shelter now shut down because it served as an opportunity to do outreach with individuals who are not typically in a shelter setting.
With some of these guys that we were working with, they've been homeless for a long time. So it takes a little bit of time to get them back into a trust mode.
In a statement today, Fredericton City Hall says that homelessness is a provincial responsibility, adding that it is committed to working with the provincial government to find a long-term solution. Maddox says there were attempts to try and find another location for the low barrier shelter, but that there were challenges in getting proper zoning from City Hall. Maddox says that some people who were staying at the shelter will now go into wooded areas, but the majority of people will now be around the downtown core.
You've got people that are going to be sleep deprived. They're probably going to be using meth, which is even worse. So you've got people that are going to be, not in a good place mentally or physically, and they'll be downtown. That's where they're going to be.
Warren Maddox says that he is hopeful some kind of solution, some kind of permanent shelter solution can be figured out well before next winter, but he also adds that at this point, there is no idea that appears to have gained any kind of traction. Todd.
All right, thank you, Nick Moore, in the capital this evening. There's a live look at the Confederation Bridge. It's 8 degrees now. Repair work to the bridge was supposed to begin today. They moved that back until tomorrow, and it will be down to 1 lane in places right until Canada Day while they do some remediation work to the span between New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. Looks like it's wet there, Caleb Mitchell, as we go to the Weather Center, and you've got plenty of numbers behind you. Proper rainfall today.
Oh, it sure was. I was going to say, I wonder if the weather was a cause for that movement of the maintenance doing on the Confederation Bridge there. Yeah. In behind me on the rainfall maps, these are preliminary numbers so far, and some of these reports came in while the rain was still coming down, so they're maybe not be completely updated. But as you can see, a good portion of the Maritimes picked up some rainfall totals, generally between around 30 and 60 millimeters of rain. There were some areas that reported some higher amounts than that, including pretty close to 60 millimeters in around the St. John area, Miramichi. And I had one viewer from Springfield, New Brunswick, send in a rain gauge picture just shy of the 80 millimeter mark. I'll have that picture for you coming up at the end of the show for tonight. Now, the rain is still moving through parts of the region. It is still to clear parts of the east of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and northern eastern areas of Nova Scotia. It is a slow-moving weather system, so it's going to take its time this evening and tonight. and into the early morning hours of Saturday before it completely exits off towards the northeast. So additional rainfall amounts to come with this weather system. The most still expected around eastern parts of Prince Edward Island and the east of Nova Scotia, including into Cape Breton, where there might be additional rain of between 10 and 20 millimeters. There are still a few weather alerts in effect for the region, including a wind warning for northern Inverness County in Cape Breton. That is expected to end later this evening. We have rainfall warnings extending up through the eastern part of Halifax County, Guysborough County, and then some special weather statements in Cape Breton. And again, that's where some of that steadier rain still has to move through. I'll have an update on this wet weather and, of course, the weekend forecast when I'm back a little bit later on time.
Kaylin, I know you know the saying, April showers brings May flowers,
yes.
Right? Well, just one day into the new month, and it's even wetter in much of the region, as we've just heard. It has Maritimers dreaming of sunny skies and warm weather. Here's our Avery McRae.
It's the question everyone is asking after a wet and chilly April. Where is the nice spring weather?
We heard maybe tomorrow we're supposed to have some nice weather, some sunshine coming out, maybe rain again on Sunday. Hopefully it comes to stay by next week, huh?
Hopefully.
An abysmal April saw high winds, heavy rains, and even snow as recent as last week. It's made spring cleanup a challenge for folks.
I got some yard work done at my house, but basically it's been a nasty April, so we're glad that May's here.
But the new month is starting much like the last. In Halifax, thick fog and rain welcomed Haligonians into May, with all the wet weather in the region of late having delayed some staples that come with the sunnier seasons.
We've been thinking it was going to open for the last couple of weeks, but the weather wasn't great, so we really, today was the day, and we're out here. I wasn't going to stop for a little rain.
Back in St. John, it was opening day at the city's lone 18-hole golf course. A rainy Thursday night meant no carts for the first swings of 2026 and long days for staff getting the course ready.
Despite the wet conditions out there, everything is shaping up well. It's pretty green, things are growing.
Greenhouses are also hopeful April showers bring May flowers. At Cedar Crest Gardens, staff are hearing the weather woes.
Customers are always like, oh, I want to get outside and I want to do, my planting and everything, but it's been nothing but raining lately.
But for people like Jackson Noseworthy, the rain might be just what he needs.
Been here 30 minutes, had a couple bites, nothing crazy, but I think the rain in the past has really helped with the fishing season, so I'm hoping it's going to be a good day out here on the lake.
And Todd, the rain is also helpful for the dry conditions we are seeing around the region. Firefighters in both New Brunswick and Nova Scotia battled wildfires this past week, so a few more rainy days ahead of the long weekend may not be so bad, Todd.
May not. Thank you, Avery, in St. John. Let's make this the CTV web poll heading into the weekend. Why not, right? We're asking, is the wet weather ruining your spring? And your options are, yes, I haven't been able to golf or garden or the rest of it. No, I like cozy rainy days. Or it's an inconvenience, but we need the rain, right? You can vote at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Now, weather isn't the only thing raining on the party at the Old Triangle in Halifax. The popular pub, with permit in hand, was about to start building their summer patio. That's when the city showed up. CTV's Callum Smith picks up the story.
At the Old Triangle, the St. Patrick's Day countdown is always on, but they're also awaiting patio season. Excitement was growing after finally getting approval from City Hall on Monday to build their own.
As we were getting that letter, I got a text from one of my staff saying the city was removing the sidewalk. And that was Monday afternoon, and here we are Friday morning, and nothing's been done since.
Brendan Doherty had trucks and a crew booked to build it, but they had to cancel.
It's a lot of logistics building a patio in downtown Halifax. So yeah, we were going to start Tuesday morning, and now we don't know when we're going to start because we haven't been able to. The last I heard, this project was going to be completed 2 days ago.
I would be frustrated too. Yeah, I think we do need to have some better communication between work groups here in HRM. We are fairly siloed.
Mayor Andy Fillmore agrees, telling CTV News coordination and communication from City Hall needs to be better.
I think we could get better at communicating with each other and then back to community.
HRM says some bricks on the Bedford Row sidewalk were damaged and posed a tripping hazard found during patio inspections. But the permitting and sidewalk repair crews weren't in lockstep.
We had intended to get the work done before patio construction could take place. Just unfortunately, the timing didn't line up this time. I believe there may have just been a bit of a miscommunication or a scheduling. One team moved faster than expected, basically.
As for the work going untouched since Monday, he says staffing shortages are to blame. As the weather warms, construction is all around. But it's the timing for this project that caught Doherty off guard.
Maintenance has to happen. I understand that. You'd think there'd be some sort of coordination within the city to accommodate that so that they're not giving us approval at the same time they're starting a construction project of their own.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
The city promises the work will be done by end of day Tuesday. So, well, today looks like anything but patio season. Brendan Doherty is hoping that sunnier skies and clearer sidewalks are around the corner. Todd.
With the luck of the Irish, perhaps, Callum. Callum in downtown Halifax, thanks. The union representing thousands of healthcare workers in Nova Scotia is calling for a delay in the rollout of a new digital health record system. But the health authority says it will go ahead as planned next week. CTV's Jesse Thomas has details.
The Nova Scotia General Employees Union is raising concerns as the provincial health authority moves ahead and on schedule with the next phase of the rollout with the one person, one record digital healthcare system. NSGEU represents around 13,000 healthcare workers in the Central Zone. The union says many of those frontline staff are questioning whether they're ready for the transition.
Members are concerned that the training they've received is not adequate to deliver patient care.
A union survey of nearly 300 IWK employees went out last month and found that most respondents reported high stress with the rollout, citing a lack of training, while others shared concerns around patient safety. The union, however, didn't provide any specific examples of patient safety concerns, but says the risk is high if mistakes are made in high acuity areas like emergency and surgical care.
So they're very concerned about that. The stress that they see that was imposed on their coworkers and colleagues at IWK, they're working in already stressful environments.
One person, one record was first rolled out at the IWK in December, and staff said there were some lessons learned, but stress they are ready to go live on May 9th in the Central Zone. While it's a major shift away from the paper system, the health authority says 24/7 supports for staff will be there as the digital system goes live.
Patient safety is our #1 priority. When we go live with something very new and different in the healthcare system, there are lots of supports around them.
The union has written a letter to Premier Tim Houston asking for him to step in and delay the move. One person, one record is expected to be fully in place across all health zones by the end of the year. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Province of New Brunswick is looking to bring more doctors into the health system, expanding a program aimed at internationally trained physicians.
All in, we will have 44 graduates of this incredible program in a short period of time.
Premier Susan Holt, along with Health Minister John Dornan, welcomed a new group of doctors who have completed New Brunswick's Practice Ready Assessment Program, which helps internationally trained physicians become licensed and start work in communities right around the province. The program is expanding from 10 to 14 positions in an effort to improve primary care.
So each one of them will eventually take on a full roster of currently unattached patients. Every new physician we bring into this province, every new nurse practitioner we bring into this province helps ease the strain.
I already work as a professional doctor in Iran. I can say that, easily I can use my knowledge, utilize my knowledge and my experience from Iran and what I learned from the assessment, joined everything together.
Internationally trained physicians already make up nearly a third of the doctors in the province. Meanwhile, the government is extending its equine veterinary services until the end of next March. Representatives from the farming community met with Premier Holt today. Following the meeting, the Agricultural Alliance said the government has agreed to extend the vet services until at least the end of next March. The province had announced it planned to privatize the vet service over the next 3 years when it released its budget in March.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
There's a rare bit of good news for one of the world's rarest whale species. There are more right whale babies this spring. 23 calves have been born this season, That's the most in many years. Still, experts insist more young are needed to eliminate the possibility of extinction. Population is estimated to be around 384 animals and slowly rising after years of decline. The whales give birth in waters off the southern U.S. states. They're now on their way to their summer feeding grounds in our neighborhood. We'll take our first Friday time out. When we return, Kaylin Mitchell has some sunny weekend details. That sounds good. But first, the latest on the war in the Middle East.
President Trump taking a host of questions on the war with Iran as the administration comes to a key deadline. What he says they will do. I'm Olivia Rubin with those details coming up.
U.S. President Donald Trump is not happy with negotiations with Iran. The war now reaching 60 days. By law, the administration is supposed to seek approval from Congress for further operations. But the American president says he doesn't need to. ABC's Olivia Rubin with the latest.
Today, with the Iran war hitting 60 days, the White House facing a key legal deadline: secure congressional approval to continue or wind down operations. But President Trump today pushing back.
Also, we had a ceasefire, so that gives you additional time.
But the U.S. military has been conducting a blockade of Iranian ports, and a blockade is considered an act of war under international law. CENTCOM releasing new video today of those operations in the Arabian Sea, saying at least 45 ships have turned back to or away from Iranian ports. And now Trump in a letter to Congress saying that, quote, the hostilities have terminated, but he will continue to direct the U.S. military in the region. The letter not asking for permission.
They want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied with it.
And after a briefing from the head of the U.S. Central Command yesterday on options in Iran, Trump today with this.
Do we want to go and just blast the hell out of them and finish him forever, or do we want to try and make a deal? I mean, those are the options.
Do you want to go blast the hell out of him?
I prefer not. On a human basis, I prefer not.
Now, Iran, for its part, says it's ready to defend itself and that its air defenses are still operational and remain on standby. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Still to come, a mix of sun and cloud. It will be warmer tomorrow. Kaylin has the weekend forecast after this commercial break. Oh, still makes for a fabulous image, despite the fog and the wet conditions, and it looks beautiful. It's maritime scene, perhaps at its best. That's the Halifax waterfront.
That's what we call the traditional maritime spring.
It is, yeah, right. You know who's going to be very happy to hear your pleasant Saturday forecast? The Halifax Wanderers. They play tomorrow afternoon. They host Hamilton. So they and their thousands of fans who will be sitting on those bleachers will be very happy to hear that it won't be soaking wet.
And they have threaded the needle between two very rainy weather systems. Hopefully we'll see them threading some goals into the opposing team's net for tomorrow. Let's take a look at what's coming up on Sunday of this weekend. And so this is the second weather system that's going to be bringing us some pretty rainy conditions. It's a low pressure system coming up from Cape Hatteras. That's off the coastline of the Carolinas. It is going to be bringing in rain to the Maritimes. Once again, potentially heavy at times for some areas, mostly parts of Nova Scotia, maybe the southeast New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. Right now, that's where it looks like with this weather system. There's the best chance of seeing a fairly widespread 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. Might be a little bit below that for a few parts of the east of Nova Scotia, and lower than that for some northern and western areas of New Brunswick. The timing for this weather system is the rain is developing on Sunday, ongoing into Sunday evening and night before it clears away. This low pressure system does look like it is going to be getting a little bit stronger compared to what is moving through now. The central pressure of it, which can be a measure of the strength of this type of weather system, falling down to around 980 millibars as it approaches the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. Because it is a little bit stronger, it does bring a risk of driving, in some cases, some higher winds, especially around the coastline of that province province, maybe coastal areas of Prince Edward Island. There could be some peak gusts get up between 50 and 70 kilometers per hour, and have to keep tabs on the situation when it comes to lace wet winds in northern Inverness County in Cape Breton. They could clock in higher than that, like they did with this weather system, where at times they gusted between 80 and 100 kilometers per hour. Now, for this evening and tonight for the Maritimes, we still have this slow-moving band of rain that has to clear through. By the time we get to around midnight, it should be clear of most of the region, with the exception of Cape Breton, which will see the last of the rain clear out over the Cabot Strait, moving into the early morning hours of Saturday. And behind it for tomorrow, fog patches dissipating in the morning, the afternoon, mostly sunny to a mix of sun and clouds. Some cloud cover will be increasing in the west of New Brunswick, and that will be accompanied by a low chance of some showers there. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tonight and for tomorrow. Tonight's winds, as that front moves through, mostly become west and northwest. And tomorrow's winds will be mostly out of the southwest for the province of New Brunswick, west for Prince Edward Island, west and northwest for the east of Nova Scotia, and out of the southwest for southwestern areas of Nova Scotia. The winds sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. There could be occasional gusts between 20 and 40. Now, low temperatures in the forecast for tonight around the Maritimes will be mostly falling down to around the low to mid single digits. A little bit cooler than that up around the northwest of New Brunswick. Edmundston could get down to around 0. High temperatures, though, in the forecast for the north of New Brunswick for tomorrow between 12 and 16 degrees. Lots of low to mid-teens in the Maritimes for Saturday. High temperatures for Fredericton near 15 degrees. We've got 12 for St. John and 16 degrees for Moncton in the southeast. Prince Edward Island on Saturday with high temperatures between 10 and 15 degrees. A little bit milder up west in the province. Just a little bit cooler for coastal areas down east. In Cape Breton, high temperatures tomorrow between 8 and 12 on the north shore of Nova Scotia. Tatamagouche, New Glasgow, Stellarton, Antigonish can expect high temperatures 15, 16 degrees. On the eastern shore between 11 and 14. City centers Halifax and Dartmouth for tomorrow 15 degrees, 15 for Truro and for Amherst, 12 for Parsborough. In the Annapolis Valley, 16 for Kentville and Middleton for tomorrow, 14 for Digby. And for communities on the south shore of Nova Scotia, most of the high temperatures between 12 and 15 degrees. Might be a little bit milder for Bridgewater, closer to 17. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick on Sunday. Well, there's that returning rain. But in behind it, a couple of very nice looking days on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week looking particularly warm for the region. There is a chance of showers on Wednesday with rain possible on Thursday of next week, and then a chance of showers on Friday. And we've got a mix of some sort of sunnier conditions and wetter days ahead for Nova Scotia as well. There's rain and gusty winds on Sunday, but then back to more of a fair weather mix of sun and cloud on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Wednesday with some increasing cloudiness and a round of rain possible Thursday into Friday. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast coming up on Sunday, rainy and gusty conditions developing mostly during the last part of the day as that system moves in. And then it's a mix of sun and cloud that follows for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And then another round of wet weather possible towards the end of next week. That'd be the Thursday, Friday timeframe. Todd.
Very good. We'll see you at the end of the show for the Wake Up Weather. Next, we'll discuss deficit, submarines, and pipelines in Friday politics. We'll be right back.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Join us Monday morning at 7 as we kick off the brand new $1,000 Minute Jackpot Edition.
Where there's even more money to be won if you can take a chance.
Welcome back. There's a pipeline deal with the States. South Korea sweetens its sub-pitch, and Canada either has one of the G7's best or worst economies. There's lots to talk about on Friday Politics. We're joined by CTV Ottawa Bureau Chief Graham Richardson on a sunny hill. Looks nice there.
Hey, it's pretty nice. We finally got some spring here, Todd.
Yeah, we could use some of that. Let's start with the pipeline. I called it an agreement. Is it an agreement? We know Donald Trump signed it after he told Canada that he doesn't need anything we make. He was pretty quick to pull out the pen.
Yeah, there's lots of steps still, but it's a significant move, Todd. If you take a look at this is a pipeline, the Bridger pipeline, that is essentially a redone Keystone XL.
Yeah.
That pipeline bounced all over the place. Finally, Biden cancels it. It's just been it was a mess. This one is shorter. It goes through land, fewer reservations on the American side where there would be serious trouble for the pipeline. And they're going to use, on the northern side in Alberta, they're going to use material that's already there. And so this is a revived Keystone, but you're right. I thought he didn't want anything we sell, and then he signs this. And it's an underscore as well of the integration of these two economies, regardless of what's going on politically and trade dispute-wise. Interesting, Canadian government pretty muted about this, not exactly wanting to celebrate, you know, more integration on the energy front when Prime Minister Carney's talking about going elsewhere as much as possible.
Well, and it kind of gives Alberta their day, I guess. Danielle Smith gets to raise the flag. Look, we got that spring budget update. The Liberals are waving around, look, we've eliminated $11 billion from the deficit, yet spending is up. There's lots here for people to either like or dislike. At the end of the day, Canada still owes a whole bunch of money.
They do. We do. And yeah, I thought it was interesting. They were signaling the books are getting better, and then the massive deficit is only sort of massive. It's less massive than it was by $11 billion, right? So they would argue, and they do forcefully, we're doing spending that we need to do on things like military, which, by the way, they haven't fully accounted for the 2% of GDP yet inside the books. That apparently is coming in the next budget.
Yeah.
But macro-wise, their story, Todd, is it's getting better. We're pivoting the economy because of what's happening in the United States. We're getting more serious about this economic situation we're in. Even if micro for Canadians, it doesn't feel that great right now. We're taking the steps we need to take to get us there. Of course, the opposition, a completely different opinion. Mr. Poilievre saying just another Liberal spend, spend, spend. He's just like Justin Trudeau. He's pivoting back to that message this week, especially after the spring update.
Well, in fact, he was in Hamilton today at a production facility talking about Canada having the most expensive groceries in the G7. And as you mentioned, the $2 in some parts of the country gasoline. It certainly doesn't feel like that things are moving along when you have to go out and run a household. But it was interesting because Mr. Poilievre sounded very much like he was in election mode. We're years away from an election, so is that an effective strategy for him?
Well, it's interesting. The director of communications is gone, and his tone has kind of shifted back to what it was. Just another Liberal is his slogan. The line that he keeps coming back to, no one thought anybody could spend more than Justin Trudeau, and he'll love the fact I'm repeating this line. And then along comes Mr. Carney, and Poilievre's line is "hold my champagne" instead of "hold my beer." So he's having some fun with it. He's cheeky. He's sharp again. The question, Todd, is the problem for Poilievre is that Canadians generally right now like Mr. Carney. They're not sure about Mr. Poilievre. Even if they're critical of Mr. Carney on those micro issues, and they're worried the economy is not going as well as it could for everyday citizens. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And to your point, yes, with a majority, there's no election coming for the next 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah. Here on the East Coast, we're pretty anxiously awaiting a submarine announcement, the procurement, the $110 billion, a dozen submarines we think it's going to be. South Korea has sweetened the pot. Now they're offering to build, armored vehicles. Are there any rumors swirling around the Hill about this one, or they've been doing a pretty good job of keeping a lid on it?
Fairly tight. They've sent both back to say, let's enhance these things before, which is unusual. So the German consortium and the Koreans. And so they say they're getting closer. I mean, you got to keep in mind as well, Mr. Carney promised to shorten critical decisions like this. So everyone's expecting that as these companies come back, these consortiums come back with a better deal domestically for Canada, apparently, that we will get a decision soon. The two things that we're all watching very, very closely, subs, fighter jets, the review of that, just generally in the defense space, how much money is committed to going out the door, what that's going to look like. And once they make those choices about who they're going with, how quickly the benefits can flow, and of course places like Halifax and the East Coast are a key part of this because of where you are.
Yeah, watching it very closely. Prime Minister is hitting the road again.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a short, intense trip to Armenia, where the European political community is meeting. You don't have to know what that is. It was created in 2022. It's basically all of the political leaders in the European Union, as well as any peripheral countries like the UK. They're all gathering. And yet another flag waver for Mr. Carney. He's going, a 12-hour flight. He's there for about 24 hours, and then he's coming back. And this is, I think, trip 25 in his short time as Prime Minister, clearly signaling again to everybody that things have changed. That rupture you referred to in Davos and strengthening ties to Europe is a key part of his message.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll watch for your reporting through the week. Graham Richardson on the Hill for us. Thanks. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Todd.
We'll take a time out. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Tonight in health news, hundreds of children's toys and clothing items are being recalled in Canada. CTV's Amanda Debison explains why as we wrap up the week in the Lifeline.
Various children's products are being recalled due to choking and flammability hazards. 3 are for children's clothing items that may pose a burn risk to children. That includes Nebulous Star brand children's dressing gowns and ponchos in various models. There were also recalls for a red robe and pink nightgown from the brand Suri Mini. The government agency says loose-fitting kids' sleepwear can come into contact with ignition sources such as stoves or candles. As of last week, there had been no reports of incidents or injuries. There were also 2 recalls for children's toys due to choking and injury hazards. That includes all Stefan baby-branded Boo Bunny and Friends children's toys. The toys have a small, removable, water-filled plastic cube that can be chilled for comfort. But the notice says that cube may break, posing injury or choking hazards. Also recalled is the children's stuffed animal from Build-A-Bear Workshop, Heartwarming Hugs Bear 2. It has a zipper on the side, and Health Canada says the slider may detach at the neck seam, creating a small parts hazard. Finally, scrolling on your phone while sitting on the toilet might be doing more harm than you think. The American Gastro Association is issuing new guidance that calls for less phone time in the restroom to avoid hemorrhoids. Studies show sitting on the toilet for too long increases your risk. The group is advising to either avoid bringing your phone to the bathroom or setting a timer for 5 minutes to get up. The new guidelines also emphasizes getting the recommended daily amount of fiber to prevent constipation. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
I don't know how we top that, but we'll try. We're on the scene. The wait is over for many movie lovers as The Devil Wears Prada 2 opens in theaters today, and 2 of its big stars just got big Hollywood honors. As ABC's Ashley Mackey shows us, Hollywood heavyweights showed up to celebrate.
Welcome Emily Blunt to the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Family and colleagues cheer as longtime collaborators Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci are honored with stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
It has been an honor and absolutely exhausting to be a part of Hollywood for 45 years. But I wouldn't have traded it for the world.
It's very difficult to sum up just how meaningful this is to me, and the juggernauts that showed up to speak about me has just blown my hair back.
Tucci and Blunt received their stars in the category of motion pictures, and fellow Hollywood stars Robert Downey Jr., Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Matt Damon, and Meryl Streep spoke on their behalf.
She's a scene partner you will never forget, and she's the wife you can't resent Krasinski for landing because he's equally dynamic, and this guy's impossible not to love.
Congratulations to Stanley and Emily. It's about time. The one word that I think reflects Emily's mana in here and her spirit is present.
This makes me so happy. This is the Tucci Blunt legend just continues to grow and evolve in the best possible ways.
You can't even call Stanley
a national treasure anymore because I've just been around the world, and truly the affection hurled at him globally, he's just marinating in it.
In Hollywood, Ashley Mackey for On the Red Carpet.
It's been a teeter-totter week on the markets, and the Dow wrapped up the trading week down 152 points. A Canadian energy company has announced a large expansion in the U.S. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez brings us the details.
TC Energy will expand a pipeline system at a cost of $1.5 billion U.S. The gas system runs from New York State to the Midwest and Southeast. The Canadian company just reported earnings with a revenue for the quarter at about $3.9 billion. The system expansion should be up and running by 2030. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.58. West Texas Intermediate is down to 101.94. Western Canadian Select also down to 81.92. And the TSX lost 73 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kayla Mitchell's outside. Looks like some of the fog has dissipated. I wanted to ask you about sea temperatures.
Yes.
Noticed on the map, southwestern Nova Scotia Bay of Fundy, 3-4 degrees.
Yeah.
I'd heard some talk from lobster fishermen on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia that lobster really not moving all that well because the water's just been that cold.
Yeah.
Is it colder than normal?
I mean, the sea surface temperatures, that top layer of water, that's about where it typically has been this time of year, which is in the range of around 1 to 4 degrees for a good portion of the Maritimes. Now, at depth, you know, where some of those lobsters are hanging out, that I'm a little bit more unsure about. Might have to find a resource on that and see where things stand. In the meantime, though, out here, it's cool. Still foggy. There's going to be a lot of fog around 4 tonight, but let's take a look at our viewer picture, and that features that rain gauge I talked about earlier today. And this is coming in from Jan Sass from Springfield, New Brunswick. You can see the gauge there just shy of the 80 millimeter mark. Certainly has been some heavy rain for parts of the Maritimes today. Springfield for tomorrow, if there is any fog that's still lingering around first thing in the morning, that'll be dissipating. And then after that, it's a mix of sun and cloud and a high temperature that's going to be up around 15 degrees. Here's a look at our day planner for Saturday around the Maritimes. So there is a chance there might be a few showers around parts of Cape Breton first thing in the morning. And then after that, it'll generally be a mix of sun and cloud around the Maritimes. The morning temperatures around the low to mid single digits, but in the afternoon, most of the high temperatures for the Maritimes will reach the low to mid-teens. Will be a mix of sun and cloud, with cloud cover increasing a little bit more into the west of New Brunswick, where it will be accompanied by a low chance of showers. And then keep in mind, we do have rain returning to the region on Sunday. Let's find out what's ahead on Your Morning Atlantic.
Monday on Your Morning Atlantic, hold your horses.
With pleasure. We visit a Sunshine Ranch to meet one of their newest residents, a mini foal who can fit on your lap.
Start your morning with us Monday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally for us this week, the elusive street artist Banksy, he's at it again, confirming that a new sculpture which popped up in London overnight is indeed his work. Take a look. The statue appears to show a man walking with his face covered by a billowing flag. Banksy posted a video to his Instagram account showing snippets of the sculpture being placed near Buckingham Palace during the dead of night. Banksy isn't typically known for statues, more famous for paintings, of course, which have sold for millions of dollars. That is our look at the day here at home. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca, that's where you'll find our weekend reporting. We head into the weekend soaring over Trackety Beach PEI, courtesy Cloud Cam aerials with the names of everyone here on the newscast. I'm Todd Battis. See you Monday. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.